We've just finished recording probably my favourite episode to date. We sat down with Josh, who is the founder and owner of VineBud. VineBud are a tech-based wine company in Northampton. And during the episode today, we cover a bunch of different topics. Josh talks about experiencing incredibly high highs and really low lows. And in fact, he shares a story of a moment where he sat in an industrial estate, it's sleeting down, and he just burst into tears because it's been an incredibly difficult process to build a business to that point. So in this episode today, you're going to learn about the importance of knowing when to pivot. They went for maybe a year and a half without generating much revenue and decided to pivot away from online to in-store. You're going to learn about the importance of building community and how to build community. And he shares some fascinating insights into what he would do if he could only work on his business for 2 hours. We hope you enjoy.
So how did you go from being a solicitor to starting your own tech-based wine company?
Gravitated into law, just through school, because I genuinely, my thought process about when I was like, applying for uni and stuff like that, I was like, I'm not smart enough to be a doctor, so I'll go and be a lawyer. And I didn't even question it. Parents and teachers never tried to talk me out of it, because why would they? So I spent all the money, did all the exams, started practicing for about 3 years, and then I was just sat at my desk one day. I was just like, what am I doing? So I specialised in child protection and like family law, so it was like quite intense as well. And I just had a few kind of really rubbish cases, and without putting too fine a point on it, I kind of lost faith in the English legal system. And then I was just like, I can't do it, don't want to do it. And then wanted to do something for me as opposed to something I felt I should be doing, which is what law was. It was, to make parents proud and everything else like that. And then I just kind of thought, solve that thought process, go and do something which I want to do, which I guess is similar for you guys, isn't it? So it's, and then so I stopped law end of 2018, had like that classic 6 months, went to Thailand and Bali and found myself on the beach, and classic stereotypical. And but in that time, I was just like, wrote down on a piece of paper the things that I am passionate about, and that was good food, good coffee, and good wine. And then within that, I was like, I don't want to really start a coffee roastery because that's 10 to the dozen. Do I want to be a chef? No. It's also a really stressful, high pressure, antisocial job. And then wine, I just kind of said, it'll be something in wine. I didn't go out thinking it'll be in a wine shop. I started off working in a vineyard, picking grapes and doing all like the harvesting stuff. And then, which was for just like a seasonal thing for a couple of months. And then at the end of 2019, started working for like a fine wine investment company. So the kind of stuff where you would, buy it as a commodity, keep it for 20 years and sell it for a profit sort of thing. So then I did that between October 2019 and COVID. And then during COVID, just before COVID, I'd moved into like a sales position, and then all of a sudden, obviously during COVID, no one's buying £5,000 bottles of wine, so I lost that sales job, and then kind of thought, I'm a bit sick of working for people, and I come from a family of entrepreneurs. My parents always ran businesses and stuff like that, and then it was my dad who actually kind of sat me down. It was like, there's some point in life you have to risk something, and going to just being a bit stereotypical, good at school, go to uni, get a very, very safe job. I never really taken a risk. And I was just like, not now then when, don't have a mortgage, don't have kids. Yeah. So just kind of, COVID, everyone had a bit of a reset anyway.
Yeah.
And then, kind of took the plunge today, 4 years ago, as we discovered. Yeah.
Amazing. I mean, it's a similar arc to me and you in terms of, we've done our kind of duty of
Yeah,
agencies.
I think the thing you were saying about like just taking like the normal path, like, you know, like the thing of like you do this, then you do that, and then you do that. Like, yeah, I'd say like very similar. Like you do the uni thing, then into like a proper job, and then through for like what 15 years.
Exactly. And the people that we get on this podcast, like the business owners, co-founders, founders, they all say similar things about starting on their own and starting their own thing. That freedom, like, what is it for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny things. Like, I stopped doing law because I was like, it's stressful. I don't like sort of normal peaceful life. So I was like, I'm going to start a business, which is obviously hugely stressful and probably the hardest, a lot harder than law. It's the hardest thing I've ever done. But as you said, the freedom and the joy that I get out of it is just like blows all out of proportion, and it kind of makes, you know, the sleepless nights and the migraines and all that kind of stuff, that stressful part of it kind of makes it okay when it's you kind of sailing your own ship.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing I've definitely noticed is like there's a lot of fear, isn't there, about like wins and goals and stuff, that they always feel the same. I'd say that the wins definitely hit different when they're for yourself. Like when I used to sign a client at our last agency, it'd be like, okay, great, but it didn't really hit the same as like when you're signing that contract with somebody for your own, like it definitely hits different, I'd say. Yeah,
and I always say like the highs are high and the lows are lower, but it's just so much more exciting rather than just kind of like just coasting through life on this even keel of nothingness and no kind of professional enjoyment. So, and then within that, you know, when you do get a good win, I really go out and I enjoy it and I kind of relish the moment. And then equally when it's a bad time, you batten down the hatches and, you know, learn, pick yourself up and go again. Because the thing is, I think when you're the owner, the buck has to stop with you. And that's probably been the biggest thing that I have learned. It's one of those, if I don't do it, be it, you know, a job in the shop or you know, pick myself back up, like, you know, no one else is going to do it for me. So it's and then what?
And it seems like you were quite methodical in terms of, okay, did you know you wanted to go and start your own wine business when you went to the vineyard, then you went and kind of go into a wine investment company, then into the sales? You almost ticked off boxes of areas of knowledge that you wanted to learn about the wine industry.
Absolutely. Sorry, the vineyard thing was literally learning it from the ground up, because I was like, you know, maybe I want to go and be a wine producer or a wine maker. Which to be fair, I would still like to do. It's more the money in that, and unless you kind of, you know, you're owning a vineyard, isn't that good. And obviously I want to kind of accomplish certain financial things and kind of, you know, I'm nowhere near the salary that I was on, but I want to kind of meet in the middle, whereas a vineyard worker I think would have been amazing, fantastic if it's something I would have done when I was like 18. But by the time I'm like, you know, 10 years down the line, granted that's not loads of time in the grand scheme of things, it's also, you kind of missed a real good opportunity of like the trying stuff out, and if it fails, it's not the end of the world. It's like, you know, I still want to kick on and own a house and all this other stuff, which I just think it would have set me back a little bit if I had gone into doing a kind of minimum wage sort of job. So it was good from the point of experience and kind of getting a grasp of, like, you know, how the winemakers do it and why they do it, and it's a big thing about passion and love, which is fantastic. And then I, flip side of that, the sales, fine wine sales in London, that was just a really good opportunity. I was just sending out CVs and seeing what landed, and it was one of those, you know, recent solicitor. It's, you know, it's an attractive thing to have on your CV, and then you just got picked up and kind of went with it like that. So it seems more logical now looking back, but at the time it was just an
completely
opportunity. The opportunities come up and you just take them and see how we go.
So you basically got an education in that kind of industry within a couple of years, just by kind of going through those steps. something where we, in our journey, obviously people know now from this podcast, took us like 10 years to take the steps and do that. But also, it's interesting that you've taken those steps, like started at the bottom in terms of, not at the bottom, if you know what I mean, in terms of the vineyard, and then worked on different things, because we often say, don't we, about kind of young people getting into industries these days, they're not patient enough to do the hard work.
Yeah, I think you've got to definitely do your time.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, it's also, I was making tea for the majority of the time. Sales role, I wasn't sort of like high flying, sales role, otherwise I'll still be doing it now. I think you have to pay your dues and be patient, and I think you just have to recognise an opportunity when it presents itself, as opposed to just expecting things to be handed.
I spent what, 2-3 years just making coffee for you.
You didn't speak to anyone for the first 6 months.
I made the coffees, that was it.
Walked away.
You don't even drink coffee.
No, I don't. I didn't have to make. You asked me to make you one. I was like, okay. Quick on YouTube.
Quick Google.
What do I do?
Perfect. Okay, so let's move on then. So building podcasts is obviously for business owners, aspiring business owners as well, to really try and give them some tips from people that have been there and done it. So let's talk about your journey now with VineBud. Can you talk me through, like, obviously when researching, we saw that you incorporated the business on this day 4 years ago, surprisingly. So happy birthday.
Thanks so much.
But then your shop actually launched, or the website says it launched in 2022. So what were you doing in that 2 years?
Yeah, so I started the business with the idea of an algorithm, or should I say like a quiz, because it was one of those, I had like an amateur passion for wine. I knew what I liked. I didn't really know why. And then I also realised there's a lot of things which I didn't know in terms of a lot of different stuff to try and whatnot. And I just thought if there was an easier way, simpler way of kind of getting that knowledge without study and drinking myself to death. So I thought, if it would be great if there was an app. You can go onto the app, do a little quiz, and then the results of the quiz tells you what you like to, or what you should try. So that was the idea. That was like the conception for VineBud. And then incidentally, I called it VineBud, the company VineBud, because I didn't know where it was going to grow. And the vine bud is the part of the vine where you don't know where it's going to grow into, a bit which gives grapes, or a bit which, part of the vine, like the tendril, which kind of clings to the post, and you don't know which direction it's going to go. So that was like the thought behind the name of the business. So then I reached out to a few kind of software engineers, said, I have this idea. What do you think? Found a chap, Pete, who was absolutely amazing. And he pretty much told me how to break down all these wine grapes, into a way a computer could understand. So I gave, say it was like Pinot Noir or something like that. I would have a list of kind of flavour categories, like raspberry, strawberry, high tannin, low tannin. But everything would have a value between 1 and 5. Okay. So you kind of change it into like a numerical thing, a computer and an algorithm can then understand. Yeah. So then, and then we developed this quiz. So it was 8 multiple choice questions, and those results are then cross-referenced through the algorithm with all this like grape code, and then it gives you the answer. So it was like quite a complex thing. Because each time someone does a quiz, it chucks out 12 million lines of Excel data. Wow. So yeah, it's like a really sophisticated thing. And because of that, we couldn't put it into a WordPress or a Squarespace thing, because it was just, the engine just was too big. So then we had to make our own website, which then obviously slowed the process down like a little bit. So we essentially had, so as you said, it was June 19th, 4 years ago. Strange old time. And then so it was probably about 6 months of figuring out how to kind of do the quiz and then package it in a way which consumers could access. It was about February where we started to actually sell wine, and then quickly found the online market pretty difficult to get into from a wine point of view, because you have a lot of outlay, because you got to store the wine somewhere, which is expensive in and of itself. It's going to be temperature controlled. It's got to have all the licenses and stuff like that. So it's not like, I don't know, like a t-shirt company. I can have all the t-shirts in my house. I had to get a warehouse and stuff like that. So a lot of overheads. And then for me, and I don't know if you guys are the same, that I go online to find a bargain. I don't go online to find some artisanal, cool, perfectly matched wine. And it was just like the idea needed more investment. Obviously couldn't get more investment, so they had what I had. And so then pivoted after about a year of kind of banging down the door of trying to get onto the online thing, and then kind of pivoted into a shop, into like a brick and mortar site. So it's over the Bell Plantation Toaster. So we've been there for almost 2 years, and then we've still got the online thing as well. But it's, mainly retail. But the good thing is we've still got this wonderful quiz. So when I'm at a point, hopefully in a year or two, when we can kind of have another proper crack at the online thing, then we've got this thing sitting there. Because at the moment, the website needs a little bit of work. And my software guy kind of calls it a Ferrari engine in the body of a tractor. So we've kind of got this incredible thing, but we just don't have the means of making it run as it should. But it's something we, be it next year, be it 5 years, it's not going to go anywhere. So we can kind of keep that. Yeah.
So many questions to ask.
Yeah,
but
so
obviously, the marketing front, we'll come on to.
That, yeah.
I'm interested, like, when me and you set up 1225, like this time last year, it was very much 2 laptops. Great, we're set. We can get going. All of this, like getting a developer, algorithms, then going out buying wine, storing that wine, sounds very expensive. How did you do that? Are you funded?
Just loans, savings, and start there and kind of build there, and and that's just kind of how it's gone. But that was also why, when I got to a point where we did need to pivot, that I needed to happen. So otherwise the business just wouldn't be here, because it was, I mean, like, again, something I've learned through running a business, which I'm sure you guys probably know as well. Just because you think it's a great idea, no one else does, and it's like not that many people do, and it takes a lot of work to just get in people's faces and get people believing in your project as much as you believe in it yourself.
Yeah, we definitely had that. We decided that, we've got this great idea. Let's not call it SEO anymore. Let's call it organic search, and we're going to sell organic search. About 4 months in, we were like, no one knows.
Nope.
No one knows what we're on about. No one's buying it because no one knows what it is. We've created this whole new category, but it was just a name that no one understood. So we had to pivot back to, like, let's just call it what everybody calls it. And then from there, we've kind of been okay since. Like, how did you? I said, what, realistically, like a year maybe without making much revenue, if any at all.
Yeah.
How did you feel during that period?
Pretty rubbish. Yeah, I was living back at home. Cutting costs wherever, sold car, sold whatever I could, and then meanwhile, friends who stayed in law and still in law now, earning 6-figure plus, hating what they do, but living that corporate kind of lifestyle, which there's a lot of kind of self-doubt and a lot of Jesus Christ, what have I done sort of thing. But there was also, anytime someone did buy or someone did leave a good review or the positive interaction of any kind, that just kind of gave me enough lift to be like, it's going to be worth it. And I think as well, it was also a bit of an age, as I said, being a little bit older, it kind of forced me to stick at it, because I was like, I've done tried to do the big corporate career, for whatever reason didn't work out, done this little hippie 2 years, great picking and whatever, didn't want it to work out. I was like, this has to work.
Yeah.
So by hook or by crook, like it's gonna happen. But that was some pretty like dark, times and questioning things and self doubt. But you come out the other end and or you don't, which I think happens a lot too. So yeah, tricky time, but over that point now, which is good.
When did that tide start to shift? Was it when you went bricks and mortar?
Yeah. Like on my first day, and we did a big kind of leaflet campaign and drummed up support in the local town. But the first day we were opened, I made more on that Saturday than I had in the 3 months previous. So it was just, straight away it was like, okay, this is the right way of doing it. And as I said, on the online market is it's untapped for us, and it's a huge growth sector potential there. But it has to be when the time is right, as opposed to, I think what I did, I kind of had these grandeur visions of I was going to be a success overnight. So I started way out here, when in reality with the shop I'm starting local, and I've got this wonderful community of clients, what's the law talk, of customers, and we're starting small and we're getting bigger like that, as opposed to starting kind of nationwide or I'm going to be international wine man, and then quickly realizing that wasn't going to happen. So I kind of went about it a bit of a cack-handed way, but the shop it was just straight away. It was just like, I should have done this 2 years ago, but
Yeah, in our notes stock at the top, do you know who Gary Vaynerchuk is?
No.
So he's like an internet marketer,
right?
But he started selling wine on the internet in 1995.
Oh really? Oh,
yeah,
I should know that.
So I put it in the notes stock. I was like, you're like the Northampton Gary Vaynerchuk.
So that's a bit about the journey. What's the vision like? You've obviously said about the website and wanting to go online again, and that's the kind of opportunity area. But in your mind, where do you want to take this business?
Well, it's one, and again, one of these things where an opportunity presents itself, you have to run with it. My kind of forecasting for this year was for the internet, for the website, we're gonna get back on Google SEO and all that kind of stuff. And then I was out viewing a house, and I had my Vinebud jacket on, and the estate agent, it was just like, oh yeah, no, I know where you are, but I got chatting. Didn't think anything of it, and then 2 days later he was like, oh, there's a little unit which has come available in Toaster. Do you want to come look at it as a potential wine bar? I was like, fine. Again, didn't think anything of it, but walked into the space and got the same kind of feeling that I got when I first walked into the shop space. So that has now kind of gone from, could we do it, to putting in a planning application because it's change of use and stuff like that. So that's the plan for this year, is to open up a bar. And then equally we did the Delapre Abbey Food Festival a couple of weeks ago, and that was the first time we've done a festival thing as well. So and it was great fun. It was just we're running a little bar. I did a few wine tastings, and I invested in this kind of slushy machine. So my fiance is from Australia, Sally, and frosé is like a huge thing in Australia. So it's just like a rosé slush puppy.
Okay.
So
nice.
she was like, trying out. I wanted to hire one of these slushy machines, but then the hiring company, as soon as they found out I was going to put alcohol in it, they're like, absolutely not, in case it goes like a kid's birthday party. So kind of bit the bullet, bought one, and that was so popular, and it has been really popular. So the idea is not this year, but unless things go amazingly well, but potentially next year, getting a little van, getting another frosé machine, and just go and do festivals. It's like a little frozen cocktail van and stuff like that. So then the idea would be, then we've got the shop where we're at now. That's kind of our our HQ mothership, which is probably like 80-90% retail, 10-20% events and buy the glass stuff. The bar, which is kind of the other side of Toaster, that's going to be the other way around. It's going to be 90% wine by the glass and in-house bottles and 10% retail. You then got this, festival van thing, which we go weddings or whatever, and then you got the internet as well. So you kind of got 4 bases of selling, getting wine to people in every kind of which way possible. So that's kind of all of those things are probably that's like a 5-year plan. Yeah. So goal this year is get the bar up and running. Next year, possibly the website, possibly the van, kind of depending on the needs of the business. But hopefully, touch wood, all the planning comes through. We're kind of at the whim of South Northampton Council. So if you are listening, please.
Can we just talk? Like, you can go into as much detail as you want on this, but like some practicalities. So putting out here a little bit. Brendan and I in the background have been plotting, like, we really love golf.
Okay.
There isn't, as far as I'm aware, in Northampton, like a decent golf simulator. So you're saying that, okay, let's just start our own, like, little shops, and we're in Northampton, little golf sim. But then as soon as we get anywhere near the actual practicalities of it, it's going to cost a fortune. Like, rent's expensive, you've got to kit it out. Like, if you're, like a year and a half in, you've probably, I imagine, spent not an insignificant amount of money on developers, websites, those kind of things. Like, how do you even go about considering bricks and mortar and then bringing it to life?
So for the second site.
Oh, well, for the first one first, yeah.
Oh, so the first one, it was, again, it was just, I've got this amount which is quickly being depleted. Yeah. So it was more of a forecasting of, if you don't hit these targets, which we weren't hitting, it was like it gets like a critical date, and at that critical date, you need to get out, or the business is going to go under.
Okay.
And all this debt. So we had enough to move it. Fortunately, where we were, the warehouse was just like an agricultural warehouse, and Rob, this lovely farmer, kind of let us rent it. It is a very kind of, country gentleman's agreement kind of lease. So I was just like, mate, I can't afford it. It was like, don't worry about it. Just move out at the end of the month, and didn't kind of time it into this, 3-year lease or something like that. All the racking that we just like, like the rapid racking, just like the mallet. We spray painted black, and that's what we now use in the shop. We had all the security cameras. So we just moved everything across. Like, we didn't really buy anything. We had all the wine.
Okay.
So we just moved it from plot A to plot B.
Some like infrastructure, and then you just brought it across.
You were talking about your vision and your plan and the kind of each step, like financially as well. You got crowdfunding. You've said about bank loans. Like, how much money are you looking to invest into the business over the coming years?
So it'll be, the crowdfunding will be what it will be. I've never done it.
How does it work? Like, do you have to give equity away?
No, so that's the one thing on these like crowdfunding websites that like, you're absolutely not allowed to do equity. So it's things like, once the bar's there, you can come in for a tasting and a cheese ball and a bottle of champagne, and if you donate, kind of £200, and you kind of give different stratas of reward to a gift. Yeah. One of like the good things that one of the importers said, they're like, don't ignore the low hanging fruit. So do some raffles. So £10 a ticket, you could win £500 worth of wine, and you stick that on a QR code in the shop, in the bar window or the shop window. So people it's just a real quick. So you don't necessarily have to. Yeah, it'd be lovely to have this white whale who's going to say, it's 10k, enjoy, but it's gonna, the vast majority is going to be just people kind of giving what they can, and just relying on the good faith of people, but then it's also people knowing, how much of a good job we've done with the shop. There's that trust there that will do a good job with the bar, and then also there's a big gap in the market in the affluent place of Toaster for a wine bar as well. So it's also, people can give generously whatever they can give now, but you're then going to have this great place in town that's going to boost the town, bring jobs to the town.
Yeah.
So there's that kind of reward to it as well. Conversely, people might be like, absolutely not, bugger off and good luck to you. So you just don't know. I think if the crowdfunding didn't come good, I would then look at a bank loan or like some like an investment loan from another company. Don't love the idea of that as much because I've already got loans. So, but then it's equally conversely, I know the bar will be a really good thing, and I think also it's one of those, if I don't do it, someone else will, because there is such a kind of gap.
Yeah.
So I think, as we were saying before, I think if the planning comes good, then come what may, it will happen. Just how I want it to, or how Plan B might want it to. So
it's interesting. I think it's quite a good segue actually. So one of the things that we really wanted to speak to you about, and when we had Erica and Ian on the podcast, so their whole podcast episode was focused on community.
Yeah.
So like circular marketing, how you build community, and how really looking forward into the future of marketing, it's all pretty much going to be community based. And Ian said he was like, Josh have got an incredibly strong community that is like heavily invested emotionally in the success of the shop. So I imagine that'll translate into the bar.
Yeah.
Like, how have you gone about building a community?
Genuinely, like I don't know. Like, I didn't go out trying to build a community or cultivate a community. It's just something which happened like entirely organically. We do a lot of events, and we get a lot of people kind of returning to the same events, and then bumping into old matey boys or a tasting 2 months ago, stuff like that. So that kind of part of the community is great. And then also, I think just people coming to the shop. I like to think I'm quite a personable person. And I think people get that, and then they also get the passion, talking to someone passionate about something which you love to do, that always kind of translates really well. And then they see that it's a real kind of family run thing. So, my dad usually, he helps out a lot, but particularly on a Sunday, that's like his shift now. So he's always there on a Sunday. Sal, my fiance, she always helps me with the tastings. Incidentally, we're toying with calling the bar Sally's as well, so it kind of gives a little bit of character. But people are just really bought into what we're trying to do, and I think, again, it's just something I'm incredibly fortunate to have. Wonderful customers who come back and enjoy spending time with us. Like we go out to dinner with customers now as friends. It's not even like a transactional thing. We just enjoy spending time together, and it's kind of gone from there. So I think it's a bit of a trick, isn't it? Because wine is a very social thing. So it's not like I'm trying to build a community around selling computer microchips. It's a very social, convivial thing is wine. So I think it lends itself naturally to community anyway.
I think the principle is still there, right? So when Ian was here, he was talking about, to build a community, you have to be like value led, right? So you have to be offering something.
Yeah,
probably not a product. It's a thing. It's something. And I think you said it there, like organically without coming to it, which is, if they're coming into your shop, they're getting met by someone who's incredibly passionate about the field, about the industry, about the thing that they're selling. So your value first is probably your knowledge and your passion, and they're getting that before they're getting a sales pitch or a product or a price or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
So like I said, while it may have not been your intention, like organically that has happened, and that principle that Ian speaks about still stands there.
Oh, absolutely. But have you also done any kind of work behind the scenes? Like, how can I make more of this? How can I accelerate it? Have you put any plans in place to build, or is it literally, like you said, just organic, just you being yourself? Yeah,
like me being myself. I do think the tastings and the events that we run, they're now a really key part of the business, and I've kind of gone from, we're a wine shop, we have to do a tasting, to running we're doing 6 events in June. So it's become a real integral part, and it's not just from the bottom line's point of view, but also just from us. I mean, people. I mean, it's a sales job. People buy from people, and the more you can get to know and get in front of everyone, which is something which I just could not in any way, shape, or form do through the website. So I think that's also why there's been such a big uplift between website and shop, is just because the website is a very soulless way of selling, whereas looking someone in the eye and having that rapport, having that conversation, that's such a more kind of powerful tool. And then from there, the relationship, the friendship springs up. I always try my best to remember people's names. It's just things like that, handshake when they come into the shop. It's small things, but powerful things.
Yeah, it's even things like, for us, you brought us a couple of bottles of wine, which is very, very thankful. But to think about that, is that is that just you being you, or is that a...
No, that wasn't a sales pitch.
Yeah, no, exactly.
No, but that's just, you invited me to do this, and this is a cool, fun thing for me to do, and no agenda. It's just,
exactly. I'm not trying to say there was. It's just, you also said, which I was about to celebrate. You said I like people buy from people.
Hey.
It's the most crucial line.
It is, but this leads us into a beautiful segue, which is you're mad hard to find online. Personally, as a company, I feel like
off grid.
I think that's such an untapped opportunity. Even to get people into store, into the bar, people buy from people. 100% agree with that principle, but I feel like you could be putting more of that online.
Well, that's why. I mean, you mentioned when I came in about I'm starting to do reels and get behind the camera a little bit more and all of that kind of stuff, because I mean I appreciate it is important, and case in point, I've done 4 or 5 videos and attracted about 40-50 followers. I've only got about 1,300 odd, so it's a sizable percentage. That's just from me just putting videos out there. So no, I do agree. It's but then it's why the online thing is really exciting for us, because it's such an untapped thing. It's a huge growth area. We realise that. And I say we, me and Sal. My dad is it's an integral part of the business. But it is something that
it's that thing that you're saying though, right?
Yeah.
It's there's a million things to do.
There always is, and it's which is why I've now got this great social media lady called Mia who kind of pushes to do videos and stuff like that, because I haven't posted on personal social media in over 18 months. I can't really be bothered with social media. But from a business point of view, it's really important. But when I'm doing the buying, I'm doing the selling, balancing the books, hoovering, do the social media. So the social media comes at the bottom of that list. But equally, I'm now kind of rediscovering the power of it and trying to give it a bit more of a priority. But when you're doing everything else, it's tricky to find the time.
Yeah, it's even little things we had someone called Ray on the podcast quite recently. Brendan made his TikTok debut.
Failed. No, I said no dancing whatsoever.
But one of the things that you're talking about on that TikTok there was about Facebook is the new town hall, right? Especially Facebook groups and things like that. And I do think you have 0 reviews on your Facebook page, which is wild to me, because you must have so many engaged customers. Those kind of things, just little low-hanging fruit needle shifters.
I think
how do you prioritize
basically
that?
I think you must have a very decent offline community. It's how you capitalise on that and bring it online. And I think that's how your business explodes. Just listening to everything you've said right now, it's great. I'm excited for you.
Exactly.
But I think as well, it's maybe a bit mentally for me, because I started on the online thing and it didn't go how I wanted it to go. So I think perhaps there's a bit of a mental block there as well, and why I'm now really intent on starting small and starting face to face, that perhaps there's a bit of a blocker that I'm not ready to pull the trigger.
We know you now, so I'm going to work on it.
Yeah.
We can make this happen. The opportunity to turn you into the Gary Vee in Northampton is what's going to happen. But look, we've had you for like an hour already.
Oh, really?
Yeah, time is going quickly. We tend to try and finish off with some quick fire questions.
Okay, cool.
So we'll hit. We like to take it in turns. It's a bit.
All right. Yeah. But
You go first, and then I'll go to the next.
Sure.
One.
What's the best bit of business advice you've ever received?
risk something at some point, which is what my dad told me right at the start, and I think that's so important. And it's the same with doing the bar. It's a huge risk. It could torpedo everything, but if you don't do it, I walk past that shop, that unit every day, and I know if I don't do it, I'll have to like move out a toaster, because if I see like a nail salon in there. So yeah, risk something. That's
Nice. What about so? What is the one or most worthwhile investments that you've made?
I think knowledge. In terms of, because I came into the set as like an amateur, now I'm doing it as a profession, and I think I invested a lot in kind of going out, learning, going to videos, going to courses and stuff like that. And I think that is now a big reason people come back, because it's not like you're going to Tesco and you just get some bloke who, doesn't really understand wine, or a Majestic where you might not have someone who really like perhaps cares that much, because it's a stressful environment, and they can't give you the time of day. So I think like the investment in like myself really is I think that's probably like been the most important thing.
What's your favourite failure?
Oh gosh. I mean, just law as a whole, and kind of there's numerous times where I could have stopped and realised, this isn't for me, over the course of from sixth form to mid-20s, but I didn't, because I didn't really listen to my gut. So I think trust my gut is now really important, but I think it's also having that self-belief as well. And because I didn't do that for so long, I don't think I wasted that time, because it's led me to where I am now. But I could have saved myself a lot of money, and I could have probably saved my parents a lot of stress as well. So I think law wasn't a big failure, but it was a big learning experience, and I think it's important to differentiate between those things. But yeah, if we call it spade a spade, then that fair.
What's the one piece of advice you'd give to someone starting their own business?
I think just know that very few people beyond your friends and family are going to believe in you, and getting people around you who are going to like pick you back up a lot, plural, is really important. And I was always a bit of like an island with that. I think especially because law is it's a bit cutthroat, and it's a bit, you don't really ask for help unless you really need it. Whereas I think doing my own business, I tried to do it all at once, all on my own, and I just was burning out like a lot. So yes, I think like surround yourself with good people. Not even, they might not be experts in the field, but just people who care about you and who are gonna look after you, because there's gonna be some really, really bad times. There's gonna be great times, but initially there's gonna be a lot of shit times.
What was this isn't a quick fire one, just curious.
Yeah.
What was the lowest point?
Just going to hospital because of stress, and like the heart, and migraines, like panic attack at the till. I mean, it's bonkers, but it's just being in probably being in that warehouse, like the agriculture warehouse. It was like sleeting outside. Hadn't made a sale in like 10 days, and just like sat at the desk and just like burst into tears. I was just like, what am I doing? So it's like, so there has been
a real low.
Yeah. But then it also makes it like the now so much more enjoyable, because it's the thing with law is all handed to you a little bit, because I just did a couple of exams, then on a great salary, whereas this is literally like picking yourself up from like the absolute bottom, and now it's working, and now it's so much more fulfilling.
Yeah, it ties in so nicely to. So we had a business coach on the podcast, and we asked her like, what was the one piece of advice she'd give, and she was like, really make sure it's what you want to do.
Yeah,
because it's really not fun. Like,
no, but it's so true. Like, and we all like laugh and joke like work experience at school, but like there is a bit of like a method to the madness because I not wasted, but like I spent a lot of time doing something which I didn't like doing.
That's natural. I think that's generally natural. Like literally, as soon as we started 1225, I said to Harry, what have I been doing for my whole career? I'd spent 16 years to that point, and I feel like if I'd just done that sooner, I'd be so much further ahead and all of that. And I suppose that leads on to the next question. Like, if you were to start from zero again, what would you do?
Like zero age?
Yeah. No, as in, like, just start from zero in your career, what would you do?
Or I'll go into winemaking. Yeah. I mean, I love being outside and
in the UK or somewhere a bit warmer.
Nah, God no, I'll be like in South Australia or like somewhere. No, it'll be. But yeah, that's it's something that I do really want to do. Hopefully, once I got stores up and down the country and on the wine boat that Northampton, then I'll But it's something I think. That's what I'd love to have done or still do.
Yeah.
So,
and then we have our regular producer George is on holiday at the moment, which is why we have producer Kevin today. But one of the questions George asked us the other day, which we put in, so this is a new question. It was a really good question, which is, if you could only work on your business for 2 hours a day, what would you be spending those 2 hours on?
I would be spending it on buying, because I really go to pains to get different things in the shop and things off the beaten track, and that takes up a lot of my time. So I think definitely that also you need stuff to sell. So I think getting the buying in order, and then getting to grips with finance stuff. And I hate numbers, but it's something. It's a bit of a needs to be done.
Tip for you there: get a co-founder who likes that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
Cheers, Harry.
That's what I'm trying to. So Sarah, my partner, she's like the spreadsheet queen. I'm trying to get her to quit her job so she can go.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah,
we should start hiring instead. Let's talk spreadsheets. I think I think we're done.
Yeah,
thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you guys. It's been really cool. So cheers.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.